Numbers 19, 6 through 8. Now, this is about being purified. The priest being purified, everybody who goes in the temple should be purified. This was their laws for it. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet stuff and cast them in the midst of the burning heifer. And so this is for the sacrifice. Most of this is to make it smell good as it's burning. Some of it's for flavor. We know today, I don't know how knowledgeable they were back about that then, but herbs and spices make flavor food. I don't know if they knew that quite exactly back then, but some of this stuff would flavor it, make the heifer taste better. But some of it was just for aroma. The cedar wood was just to make, it's one of them woods that smells good when it burns. It ain't one of them nasty smelling wood burning that it actually pleasant as it smell as it burning. So all this would have left a pleasing aroma, which showed that it was acceptable to God. If it would have been something not as pleasing, then because we see time and again God smelled the sacrifice and was pleased. So it's while he was pleased because of the sacrifice, the clean, good smelling alludes to him being pleased with it. It's kind of always doing things the right way isn't the cheapest. This wood wasn't, cedar I don't think was very common in Israel. Their trees didn't grow, so that most time it would have been more costly to use that wood and some other little fig tree wood. Fig trees are common over there. It would have been cost more. But sometimes to do things the right way, God expects us to do things that cost more, take more cost from us, whether it be sacrificing our time or sacrificing our resources for Him. And that's what the giving the heifer was about. It was about taking what they had and giving it to God. Now again, this is a red heifer without spots of 2 years old, which Israel does not have anymore. Since the formation of Israel, they've not had this heifer. Okay. Then the priest shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in the water. Afterwards he shall come into the camp, and the priest shall be unclean until evening. So he's doing ritual bathing. When the temple was built, they had pools around it. This was what the pools were for. They'd go do this ritual bathing in it, which meant they'd go in with all their clothes, similar to our baptism, but different. The idea of baptism comes from this. It symbolizes God making us pure, and this was them being pure before they'd associate with other people. By him being unclean till evening, it kind of meant that he had to set himself aside, be by himself until the purification time passed. This was after he did this bathing. He was unclean till evening. Anybody who'd come in contact with him during this period of time would be considered unclean themselves. It's kind of like as Christians, if we hang around too much wrong folk, those of the world, usually whether they influence us or not, people see them with us and just associate what they do with us with it. He who burns the heifer shall wash his clothes in the water and bathe his body in the water, and shall be unclean until evening. So it is important because he was offering a sacrifice for sin. He's considered unclean. When Jesus died on the cross for us, he was unclean. That's why God turned away. So we can look at countless instances in the Old Testament. It always points to Christ. This can reference baptism, how while baptism is symbolic, it shows that we're made purified through Christ, just as these pools of cleaning symbolized the priest's commitment, and they were no longer unclean after doing this. We're made clean through Christ, and baptism symbolizes that.